We got a little behind schedule, but that's okay. You're still with us. At least some of you are still with us. The audience kind of thinned out a little bit. For this part of the preparation for our 64-round day tomorrow, we're going to continue to hear some of the glories of the holy name through the writings of our previous acharyas. In this case, it's going to be Sanatana Goswami. This very nice. I like this painting. We read in the Sad Goswami Astaka and also hear often about the 6 Goswamis that they kept no permanent residence. They slept under different trees every night. However, the fact is that some of them, Sanatana Goswami being one of those 6 Goswamis, who had some favorite places where he constructed a little cottage, and in the vicinity of that little cottage, he regularly performed his bhajan. One of the traits of Sanatana Goswami was he was like the village elder for the whole of Vrindavan. He was previously prime minister in what is now about a third of the whole of India. That means he knew a lot about looking after people. Not only he knew a lot about it, it's something that was him. And so a characteristic is he would go from village to village or gathering place to gathering place. And the previous place that he was in, they would escort him to the boundaries of their village and cry and pay their obeisances again and again and call out his name, and he would offer his benedictions to them and go to the next village. The next village knew he was coming, and they were waiting at the edge of their village and numbers and celebrating, oh, Sanatana Goswami. And he would spend day and night literally just being with the people, of course, engaging in katha and kirtan, but they brought everything to him. It's a way of culture. So if there was a problem in the family, or if there was a problem between families, or if there was a wedding or a child that was going to be born, and whatever, it was all, even the worldly things, because their life in Vrindavan was centered on Krishna. He was the life of their life. And whatever he decided, that was it, like the Supreme Court in one person. And he stayed for some days, and then he'd move on to the next place, the next place. And in this way, he continuously was moving. However, there were a few places that he liked particularly, and had a little cottage or bhajan kutir, a thatched hut, where he would stay, just like this shows. One of those places, we'll see a little bit later, was by the side of Manasi Ganga. And for those of you who have been to Vrindavan, you know where Manasi Ganga is. And those of you who have not been to Govardhan Hill, you'll see something about Manasi Ganga. It's right in the middle, mainly presently on the eastern side as you're going down Govardhan Hill. And it's in the Govardhan town area. And he had a favorite place where he had a little one of these and would sit and chant for days and days without moving here and there. He would circumambulate Govardhan Hill every day, even in his elderly stage. We're going to see another place, Manasa Pavangat, and by Pavan Sarovar, a place that's at the base of Nandagram, a place where Krishna and Nanda Maharaj would come and take their morning bath every day. So he had a little bhajan kutir place. I believe we're going to see that place. He had a place near Shamakund, Radhakund. And of course his starting days were up on Dwadasya Aditya Tila, where the Madan Mohan temple is. But largely he was everybody's everybody, everybody's everything. And giving his teachings and of course writing and transmitting bhakti to everybody. And during this period of time is when he was also composing texts. We're going to make reference shortly from Brihat Bhagavatamrita. And in this Brihat Bhagavatamrita, one of the opening verses, 1.1.9, the holy name is the greatest source of eternal pleasure and is my very life and ornament. I'm sure you already heard Shyam Sundar speaking about my life belongs to Krishna. I belong to Krishna, my life belongs, my body, mind, and words, everything belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. I belong to Krishna. And that my life for him, this is his words, the holy name is his life. So giving himself that he belongs to Krishna, he belongs to the holy name. And it is his ornament. Now people sometimes have ornaments, like we have neck beads. Or in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's writings, he indicates that the Shikshastaka 3 is such an important verse. It should be strung on a thread and worn around one's neck at all times. That's an ornament. Trinadapi Sunichena Taror Eva Sahishnana. So for him, he's making the declaration. He's the author of this humongous, elevated literature. The holy name is his ornament. Maybe you know the story, probably everyone here knows the story of Sanatana Goswami's touchstone. He, being a Goswami, had exclusive shelter in Krishna. One of the Sanskrit terminologies that goes along with this kind of shelter taking is mamata. Mamata. There's a nice ISKCON devotee whose name is Mamata. But mamata means, on the one hand, Krishna, I am yours. But it also means, Krishna, you are mine. I don't have any possession except one thing, you. And how you can possess Krishna? Not like you put Krishna in your pocket and you walk around with him and Krishna is yours. It means the relationship is everything. Krishna, because Krishna wants to give himself to such a devotee. So, Krishna, I am yours, and I am you, Krishna, you are mine. The I and mine conception, being fully spiritualized, is that mamata. So he had no attraction for anything of the world. The story or history goes, there are different versions, but one I like is there was a very poor Brahmana householder. And he was unable, because of his poverty, to maintain his family. So he was in anxiety, what should I do, what should I do? And a thought came to him, Sanatana Goswami is a mendicant, he doesn't have anything material, but I heard that Sanatana Goswami has a touchstone. And he's very magnanimous and charitable to Brahmanas. If I go to him, maybe he'll give me this touchstone. And so he went and asked Sanatana Goswami, I heard you have a touchstone. Yes. May I have it? Yes. No problem. It's over there in the rubbish pile. So he went and searched around in the rubbish pile, and sure enough, there was this object that looked like it might be a touchstone. So he was very grateful, went back to his house. At his house, he had an iron pot. So he touched the touchstone to the iron pot, and it turned to gold. He was very enthusiastic. Now I can maintain my family. Whatever metal he could find, he touched the touchstone and it turned to gold. But he was a Brahmana, so he was thoughtful and wise, and he thought, he kept this touchstone that's so valuable in the garbage heap. So that must mean he has something more valuable. He's so generous, maybe I could ask him for that too. So went back to Sanatana Goswami. Do you have something more valuable? Oh yes, far more valuable. May I have that too? Sure. One condition. What's that? Take your touchstone and throw it in the Jamuna River. And he looked at the touchstone, looked at Sanatana Goswami, looked at the touchstone, looked at Sanatana Goswami, and he nodded because he had all faith in Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami gave him the thing that's far, far, far more valuable than the touchstone. He gave him the holy name, his ornament. The touchstone ornament was in the rubbish pile. One of his books, it's been translated by Gopi Puranadana Prabhu, Sri Krishna Leela Stava. And here's one verse. You see the numbers, a lot of verses, but one verse, more than one, but I selected one. It's glorification of the holy name. O Lord Krishna, at the present moment, your holy names are flowing from my mouth. O Lord, perhaps at some time you enable me to remember your lotus feet within my heart. Maybe some of you know a very nice verse from Vidagdha Madhava by Rupa Goswami, and it just follows this one. It has 4 parts. Starts with Mahima, the glories of the holy name. How much nectar, the 2 syllables, Krishna has produced, who can say? Next, when my mouth is engaged in chanting of the holy name, dancing on my tongue, I desire many, many mouths, so the speaking part of the body. Glories, speaking part. The 3rd is when that sound enters the holes of my ears. So much nectar, I desire millions of ears. The nectar of the holy name. And then the final part is, and when that holy name enters the courtyard of my heart, my mind becomes stunned and my senses become inert. That's Rupa Goswami's way of describing what he's describing here, these stages of understanding the glories, vibrating, hearing, and praying, in his case, praying that the lotus feet, remembrance of the lotus feet will enter his heart. One very important literature for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya, is Hari Bhakti Vilas. A little background, Hari Bhakti Vilas is said to be by Sanatana Goswami, and a little backstory is, it's not exactly his singular composition, that is to say, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, during his years, 30 years of living in Srirangam with his parents, before they departed, because Lord Chaitanya instructed him, you stay with your parents until they leave this world, then you don't come to me, but go to Vrindavan. So he went to Vrindavan. So during that period of time, while in Srirangam, he wrote the text, or compiled a manual for how to perform Vaishnava rituals. Just like earlier today, there was a yajna, or on the altar, there's procedures that we follow for deity worship, or we engage in observing the month of Kartik. Just recently, we all observed the month of Kartik. So those things and all the things that Vaishnavas do, how to observe Ekadasi, and how to live your life as a grahasta, how to live your life as a mendicant, how to everything, how to observe Janmashtami. It's a how-to manual. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami compiled it from the scriptures. And when he reached Vrindavan, which was Lord Chaitanya's instruction, he gave the text to Sanatana Goswami with two requests. One, put this in a publishable form, and two, don't mention my name, because that was Gopal Bhatta's humility. So it was published in the name Hari Bhakti Vilas, and in the introduction section of Hari Bhakti Vilas, there's a reference to Padma Purana. Whatever one sees in this world is governed by the Supreme Lord. He is everywhere. He is present in this universe in the form of holy places. And those that are a little familiar with Scripture, there's millions of references to holy places and the glories of those holy places and the benefit that goes to one who visits those holy places and performs this or that or the other, auspicious activity. Big section in the Puranas. And he makes a comparison between those many, many references to visiting holy places. None of the holy places existing have ever been better, nor will they ever be better than the holy name of the Lord, meaning wherever the holy name of the Lord is chanted, that place becomes a place of pilgrimage. And the same can be said about temples. Whatever the temples were previously, now they're temples. And one of the main things, of course, deities, but the holy name, because deity worship is to be accompanied by the chanting of the holy name. It makes the place a place of pilgrimage. Just the chanting of the holy name. Some of you may know this nice story. It is in relation to Sanatana Goswami, and it's found in this book, Bhakti Ratnakar. What's Bhakti Ratnakar? It's a biography of the lives of the followers of Lord Chaitanya after Lord Chaitanya's departure. That is to say, Chaitanya Charitamrita had already been composed, and it was the life of Lord Chaitanya until his departure. And then after his departure, Bhakti Ratnakar didn't overlap, but it's lives of the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after he departed. And it's considered in a Gaudiya circle as being very authoritative. In that Bhakti Ratnakar, there's a description of Rupa Goswami's intense absorption in the holy name. And there's a particular pastime, as he was engaged in chanting of the holy name, he had a vision as we heard Bhakti Siddhanta say, Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Lila. Rupa Goswami was so absorbed, so elevated, that the pastimes of Krishna would appear in his heart. Not only the form and qualities, but pastimes. So on one particular occasion in Vrindavan, a pastime was being enacted in his heart. And there's a pastime where the gopis were attending to Srimati Radharani, decorating her and making her ready to meet Krishna. Because there's no envy or competition, it's just Radharani is the center of their life. And her love for Krishna is the center of Radharani's life, and so it's the center of their life. So they were preparing her to meet Krishna, and in the Leela that was playing in his heart, there was a section or a scene where the gopis were brushing and combing Radharani's long hair. Krishna made a sign, shh, don't say anything. He snuck up behind, the gopis saw, and he began brushing Radharani's hair. And Radharani commented, "Oh, my dear gopi, you're doing this so nicely." So she got a mirror to see which gopi it was. And when she looked in the mirror, she saw it was Krishna. And Radharani laughed, and the gopis laughed, and Krishna laughed, and Sri Rupa Manjari laughed, because he was in the pastime, participating in Krishna's pastimes. And on the soul platform, while he was laughing, his body also laughed. And as he was laughing, a very old Brijbasi passed by, a man that was lame and crippled and couldn't walk properly. And the man, the sadhu Brijbasi, saw Rupa Goswami laughing as he was passing by, and he thought, he was laughing at me because I can't walk properly. And his mind became disturbed. And so what did he do? He went to speak with Sanatana Goswami, who was elder brother of Rupa Goswami, and told him what happened. And Sanatana Goswami said, "I'll look into this and get back to you." The Brahmin was satisfied, and he left. Sometime later, Rupa Goswami came to him and described what happened. He was engaged in chanting of the holy name. A pastime, a loving exchange between Radha and Krishna appeared in his mind, and at a certain point it became very funny and everyone was laughing, and all of a sudden my meditation broke. And I tried, and I couldn't enter again into that meditation. I don't know what happened. Just sharing. And Sanatana Goswami put 2 and 2 together and came up with 4. He said, at that very moment that you were enjoying Krishna's pastime, there's a very old sadhu passing by, and he saw you laughing on the outside as you were laughing on the inside, joyously. He thought you were laughing at him, and he took offense. So here's my recommendation. Go find this sadhu, apologize like anything, fall at his feet, and beg forgiveness because you had no intention to offend him, but he felt offended. Explain what happens, and everything will be all right. So Sanatana Goswami found the sadhu. He explained what happened, and the sadhu grasped his head and said, "Oh no, you're not the offender. You don't need to apologize to me. I'm the offender. I was thinking this, and I know it's not true. It's just, so surprised that an elevated soul like you could do like this, and so my apology for thinking such bad things." They embraced, and everything was nice. In describing that event, here's, hopefully the slide is going to change there. There's a translation of Bhakti Ratnakar Radharani Chakravarti is the author. And this is the message from this pastime. Oh, my brothers and sisters, please be very careful in dealing with Vaishnavas. Give them even your very breath so they will forgive your offenses. Be careful. Do not see Vaishnavas' faults. Always praise the Vaishnavas. The ancient, great devotees say, no one understands the ways of Vaishnavas. Through his dear devotees, Lord Chaitanya has taught this truth to us. Hold the devotees' lotus feet to your head and dive into the nectar of pure devotional service. Very practical lesson where Sanatana Goswami, being in the transcendental position that he was in, he was approached by the Brahman and then by Sanatana Goswami, by Rupa Goswami, to sort out the problem. There's a similar incident, different, but it's also in Bhakti Ratnakar, where it was a practice. The younger brother Rupa would take his writings and give a copy of his writings to Sanatana Goswami for editing purposes, because he had all regard for Sanatana Goswami. And if he saw something that needed modification, he would tell him. So he did that. And Sanatana Goswami was reading, and as he was reading, he came across a passage that spoke of Radharani's braid as she was walking away. It was swinging behind, long braid down the back of her neck, swinging like a serpent. And he didn't say anything, but he was thinking, Radharani's braid is like a serpent? That's not so good. But he didn't say anything. And later, because the place where his bhajan kutir was, in fact, there were some deities of Madan Mohan, not the original Madan Mohan, but worshipping Madan Mohan there, he went to the backside to take bath in Shamakund, because from where his place is, or was, you could see over there is Radhakund, and right behind is Shamakund. And on the opposite side of where he stays is a place called Manasa Pavangat. It's still there. Maybe some of you know a little bit of the geography in Shamakund, but it's on the opposite side above Manasa Pavangat is where Krishna Das Kaviraj stayed. It's where Sri Raghunath Das Goswami stayed, and it was a attractive place to be. It was by the side of Shamakund, and a celebrated place that was a place where the gopis would go to gather water for their purposes from Shamakund. And so he went to the back of his property and was going to go down to take his midday bath, and he saw some girls, young village girls, gathering water. And one of them, as they turned, he saw what looked like a snake crawling up the back of one of them. So he called out loudly, because not too far away, "Look out! There's a snake crawling up your back." The painting is showing they turned around astonished. Radharani smiled, and poof, they all just disappeared. And then he understood. This was Radharani letting him know that metaphor used by Sanatana Goswami was very nice. It's a metaphor. And so he took his midday bath, meditating on what he had just seen. Sometime later, Rupa Goswami visited him again. "How'd you like your writing?" He said, "Very much. I liked it. Especially I liked the part about Radharani's braid." These are the kinds of exchanges that the transcendental Goswamis would have with the Supreme Lord. one of the places that he writes about chanting is Brihat Bhagavatamrita. And Brihat Bhagavatamrita, part 2, that's Gopal Kumar's journey after receiving the Gopal mantra, or the Madan Gopal mantra, which is one of the mantras that we receive in Brahminical initiation. So he was chanting the mantra, and one of the things that happened is he was journeying to higher realms, and one of those higher realms he went to was Tapaloka. There's 7 upper realms, 7 lower realms, and one of the 7, there's Bhumandala, Bhuvar, and Swar. Everyone knows those, many of us know those 3, Bhuvar, and Swargaloka. Bhuvar Loka is where the Siddhas and Charanas and Yakshas and Pishachas and Gandharvas and that group of entities reside. And then the heavenly realm, Swargaloka. And then above heavenly realm, there's 4 more. Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka. This chapter 2 of part 2 is Tapaloka. No, it's Maharloka. Anyway, he's writing about Nama-abhasa. And he makes a reference in this section to a pastime where there's chanting of the glories of the holy name is understood by a pastime from the Varaha Purana. And he gives the pastime. The pastime is when Brahmana was by the side of a river, half immersed in water, immersed in the chanting of the holy name. A tiger came to get some water. He saw the Brahmana, he was hungry, and he was going to eat the Brahmana. So in that contemplation of eating the Brahmana, just at that moment, a hunter shot him with an arrow while he was hearing the chanting of the holy name from the Brahmana. And as a result of Nama-abhasa, he became purified. The tiger became purified of all his past misdeeds, and a spiritual four-armed form arose from the dead body of the tiger. Varaha Purana, the power of Nama-abhasa. And in that same section, it also speaks of a pastime from Nrsimha Purana. This is on the topic of Nama-abhasa. Sanatana Goswami helping us understand the holy name. And the reference is there are different kinds of Nama-abhasa. Like Shishupal, calling Krishna's name in derision and scorn. That's a particular kind of Nama-abhasa. So there's a particular kind of Nama-abhasa found in Nrsimha Purana that Hiranyakashipu did. And the narration in Nrsimha Purana goes like this. Hiranyakashipu went to the forest to engage in austerities for 10,000 years. That's a long time to do austerities, long time to do anything. And understanding that that's what Hiranyakashipu had done and his purpose, Brahma was very concerned. He'll become a universal terrorist, not just a earthly realm terrorist. So he conveyed his concern to Narada. Narada is a direct son of Lord Brahma. Narada said, I have an idea. I'll take my friend Parbat Muni, and together we'll see what we can do. So they assumed the form of parrots. And while Hiranyakashipu, with his arms raised, doing his thing, they called out 3 times the mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. And Hiranyakashipu was so agitated. Narayana is my enemy, and these parrots are singing his name. So he stopped his meditation. He got a bow and arrow and shot it at the parrots, and they flew away. And because his mind was so agitated, he couldn't continue, so he came back to his home. Much to his surprise, his wife asked, "Why did you stop your meditation? You were going to be gone for a long time." According to the Sringa Purana, that evening they had union with one another, and he was describing all of this to her while they were having union, and that's when the moment of impregnation took place, and therefore, according to the Sringa Purana, that was the circumstance of Prahlad's conception. And after Prahlad's conception, he went back to the forest to do his meditation, or do his austerities for 10,000 celestial years. So the abhasa, Hela Nama-abhasa, was so powerful that it resulted, according to the Sringa Purana, in the birth of, or the conception of Prahlad Maharaj. Of course, these narrations, one of the things to take is not just a nice story. There's different days of Brahma, and in different kalpa, beda, or days of Brahma, there's different circumstances under which Prahlad is born, or Prahlad's pastimes occur. And there's variations in the pastimes, not just how he's born. But it's an example that Sanatana Goswami points to about the power of Nama-abhasa, which is the platform that most of us are on. There's offensive, there's the clearing, or abhasa, or the reflection of the holy name, or shadow of the holy name, and then there's the pure holy name. So he writes about this in Brihat Bhagavatamrita, and 2 chapters later, he makes another reference. Nice. One can reach perfection by honoring even a blade of grass, provided one sees within it the presence of the Supreme Lord. So most people don't see the Supreme Lord within a blade of grass. But if one has that capacity to see the Supreme Lord within a blade of grass, then he can achieve perfection. Or by just once uttering or hearing even a faint semblance, that's Nama-abhasa, of the Lord's holy name. Can we do something with advancing the slide? It's not working. Could you do something back there in the control booth? There we go. So over on the left, there's the form of Paramatma that just appeared. Now Paramatma is everywhere, within every atom, also within every soul. And so one who can see that, besides conceptually know that, one can achieve perfection, worship even a blade of grass. The point is, it's not the worship, it's not the blade of grass, it's the cognizance or awareness of the presence of the Supreme Lord. And obviously the presence of the Supreme Lord is there in the sound of the holy name. We know that conceptually at least, and by practice and practice and practice, we're going to hear something more about that tomorrow morning. But within the holy name, Krishna is there. The holy name and Krishna are non-different. So this, again, this is Nama-abhasa topic. I like this image. There's a lotus flower, and lotuses, lilies, they float on the surface of the water. Lotuses have a stem, and they blossom above the surface of the water. However, when the water is slightly moving, the reflection of the lotus is also slightly moving. It's a perverted reflection of the lotus. So Nama-abhasa is like that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. This delicate little instrument here. There. Whatever sins, this is Hari Bhakti Vilas. Whatever sins one has acquired presently, in the past, or in the future, all are turned into ashes by chanting the fiery, holy name of Govinda. We're all chanting. Of course, there's different qualities and quantities and degrees of chanting, but we're all chanting, and Nama-abhasa has this power. Just don't continue, and then you're in better shape. The very next verse in Hari Bhakti Vilas, if with a pleasing attitude any person chants the holy name of Govinda, he is glorified, purified, and he helps the whole world to be liberated. The painting is showing Sanatana Goswami's writing, and the background, that's Madan Mohan, the deity that was given to him to worship, or the deity wanted to be worshipped by him. He didn't have much. He's a mendicant. So here it's showing him live in a little hut. Sometimes it said he hung him from a tree in a pouch, because he was a mendicant. Didn't have a nice temple. But the deity was happy to be worshipped by him. Again, Hari Bhakti Vilas. In both the Vishnu Dharma Purana and in Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, Narada Muni gives the following teaching. Because you are attracted to the Lord's holy name, you are all very pure in heart. When the holy name rises in one's heart, it shines like the sun and shakes away all darkness. And there's many, many, many verses. He would recite these verses, he would remember these verses, and while chanting the holy name, he would remember the glories of the holy name. Here's another reference from the Sringa Purana, Hari Bhakti Vilas. When the residents of hell chanted the holy name of Lord Krishna, they attained love for him. At once they left hell and went to the planets of the demigods. Nama-abhasa has great power. Now, not too many residents of hell are going to chant the holy name. But when that does happen, the Sringa Purana says there's a great benefit that comes to them. And could you, the control box, make it go to the next slide? Here's another reference from Hari Bhakti Vilas. The holy name takes one to Sri Vaikuntha. Reference is made in the Linga Purana, Lord Shiva speaking to Narada Muni. A person who, while walking, sitting, sleeping, eating, and breathing, always chants, even casually or disrespectfully, different categories of Nama-abhasa. The holy names of Lord Vishnu defeats the age of Kali, regains his original spiritual form, and becomes a great devotee and goes to the spiritual world. Now, there's extensive teachings on the offenses against the holy name, and one of those offenses against the holy name to be avoided is to think that the glories of the holy name are exaggeration. Artavada, the doctrine of the glories of the holy name are exaggeration. That's an offense. So, when reading these things, some people say, defenders say, this is just a hype. It's not true. But it's said to encourage people to chant because it's good to chant. So say something that's some exaggeration, and people may chant. Thinking like that is an offense because it's not exaggeration. Scripture is not Harry Potter. It's not fiction, not Mark Twain or something. It's fact. The whole of Bihat Bhagavatamrita Part 2 is this scene. This is the Jayanta giving his mantra, Gopal mantra, to Gopakumar. When he gets the mantra from this sadhu, he doesn't even know his name. He doesn't know lots of things. He's a little boy. But he has faith in the giver of the name, and therefore he has faith in the name, and he goes to great lengths, experiencing and experiencing and experiencing higher states of higher realms of this structure of the universe. Can we go to the next slide? Back there in the control room, can you advance the slide? There. So there's a nice depiction of the 14 planetary systems. That in the center with the circles and rings, that's where we are, Bhu Mandala. And situated on Bhu Mandala is that tall mountain, Mount Sumeru, and on top of Mount Sumeru, there's the other planetary systems. Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka. So in one section, in chapter 3, from chanting of his Gopal mantra, Gopakumar makes it all the way to Tapaloka. And when he gets to Tapaloka, he likes it. In Tapaloka, it's brahmacharis only, because Maharloka is a place where it's grihastas primarily, and they're engaged in yajna, just like we had a yajna. And I was thinking of this while we're doing the yajna. They like it so much because when they perform the yajnas, Lord Vishnu appears from the fire, extends his hand, or hands, to receive their offerings. And as soon as the yajna is over, they immediately have another yajna set up, and they begin the next yajna, and it's uninterrupted yajna after yajna, because they want to see Vishnu receiving their offerings with his hands. That's Maharloka. And Tapaloka, which is above Maharloka, in vertical dimension, it's meditators, the 4 Kumaras, and others who are celibates, lifelong celibates. They live there, and one of their principal activities is meditation. And when Gopakumar shows up, they welcome him after they complete their meditation. Oh, here's a newcomer. We're very happy to have you come here. Here's what we do here. We'll show you how to do. And they show him how to do. And he likes it. Because in meditation, he's able to envision Madan Gopal. And he likes it. And then the residents of Tapaloka, start to persuade him, why are you chanting? Because the goal of chanting is to see Madan Gopal, and we see Madan Gopal all the time. So you don't need this chanting. And he considers what they're saying, he likes what they're saying, but then he considers, this is Sanatana Goswami's writing about the merits of the holy name, teaching us through this nice example. As much as he liked their teachings and he liked their practice, he received something very valuable from his spiritual master. That's the glories of the holy name and the holy name itself. And he considers, I would be guilty of ingratitude, according to Mahabharata. There's no atonement for a person who is ungrateful. There's atonement for killing of a brahmana. There's atonement for this and atonement for that. There's no atonement for a person who's ungrateful. And I don't want to be guilty of ungrateful. How can it be other than ungrateful unless I experience the fullness of the gift that was given to me? So he kept on chanting while in Tapaloka, doing his meditation and chanting. Don't give up your chanting, Prabhus. Follow Gopakumar. So as he's considering this, continuing to chant, what happens is, as it shows on the left side, Vaikuntha-vasis, they come to where Gopakumar is, and they have this nice conversation with Gopakumar. I want to read a little bit. Superior bhakti in the form of remembering, they think, appears within the mind. That turbulent, frightful, and mighty chief of all the senses, when by serious efforts the mind has been brought under control and fully purified. That takes a while. But we consider chanting to be alone the most excellent form of bhakti, better than remembering, which appears only in one's own turbulent heart. For chanting harnesses not only the faculty of speech, which it engages directly, but also the mind and the sense of hearing. And chanting helps not only the person practicing it, but others as well. And then the last of this section. If the sense of speech, which sets all the external and internal senses in motion, is brought under constant control, then the mind becomes stable and can properly engage in transcendental remembrance of Lord. Remembrance thus develops as a fruit of chanting, because he's in a place where remembrance, meditation of the form, pastimes, and qualities of the Lord. It's automatically accomplished. And the senses then become Rishikesha Sevanam. They become controlled by that form of bhakti, which we do. And tomorrow we're going to have a nice opportunity to do it most of the day. Going a little bit further, the Vaikuntha Vasis continue. Of the many ways to chant Krishna's glories, the foremost is Nam Sankirtan. It is deemed the best because it can evoke at once the treasure of pure love for Krishna. When relished with love, no countless ways through service rendered constantly by the tongue, the nectar of Krishna's name delights the heart. Who can describe the unequaled excellence of the nectar of Krishna's holy name? Just a couple more. Though all the names of the Lord are equally great, a devotee most quickly, most easily achieves his goals by chanting the name he himself holds most dear. This is an important teaching that's repeated in different ways. Krishna has many names, and Krishna has different names of his pastimes. Earlier we heard his glorification of the name Govinda, but there's many, many names. Right out in the hallway is Giridhari. That's another name of Krishna. And so many names of Krishna, Shyamasundar, so many names of Krishna. So it's recommended to chant that name which you hold very dear. You may have many names, so chant those many names. And Krishna will reciprocate with you according to your affection for him. The Sankirtan of Krishna's names is praised as the best and most powerful means to attain the treasure of Krishna Prema. It is like a potent mantra that can attract precious objects from a distance. They're mantras that are for those material purposes. But at a distance, maybe Krishna is at a distance from us. But Krishna is immediately present through the vibration of his holy name. Here's the present structure by the side of Manasa Ganga. It's the place where Sanatana Goswami had one of those little grass huts, and he was chanting and chanting and chanting. However, because Manasa Ganga is a body of water. It so happens that during certain seasons, water becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes. And during the mosquito season, they were too much distracting. So Sanatana Goswami didn't say anything, but he was considering, I should leave this place and go to some other place where it's not so many mosquitoes. He didn't say anything, he was just contemplating like that. And inside, now there's not just a grass hut, it's that structure that you see, that's a sitting place, and where he's engaged in his bhajan. About 10 yards away in the southerly direction, there's this Chakaleshwara Mahadev temple. It's a temple of Lord Shiva. And as you see, there's 5 Shiva lingas, and there's a central linga that's the main linga that's being worshipped there. And these 5 were protectors of the Dham. Palana, or means protection. And Kshetra Pala is a form of Lord Shiva that protects the Dham. So it's Chakaleshwara Mahadev. There's a nice story. Because of time, I'm not going to narrate. The area is Chakaleshwara, and the deity of Lord Shiva is Chakaleshwara Mahadev. And during festival season, they decorate the deity this way with flowers, and at night, they decorate the deities this way. He's got a nice crown and worshipped with flowers and so forth. So during that night, when Sanatana Goswami had already decided the next morning he was going to leave, a sadhu came and said, I understand you're planning to leave, please don't leave. I enjoy your association so much. If you like, I can arrange that the mosquitoes will go away. It won't bother you. Lord Shiva, the Lord of mosquitoes. And so he said, okay, let's see. And the next day, there were no mosquitoes. And it is said, to this day, there's no mosquitoes. Now, I haven't been around that mosquito season to verify, but it is said like that by the locals. This is an illustration of Krishna's reciprocation with Sanatana Goswami. We're closing the chapter of Sanatana Goswami's Glories. But he, in his old age, it is said about him that his brows were like lines in stone. These lines in stone don't move. So as he was getting old and old, he was over 70 years old, it was difficult for him to walk around Govardhan Hill, which he did every day. And so Krishna came, Madan Gopal came, there's with some cows, and he said, Sanatan, you're very elderly, you don't need to do this austerity. I'll make this arrangement that I'll put my footprint in this Govardhan Shila and a cow print in the same Govardhan Shila. You can circumambulate that Shila 7 times a day, and it's as good as going around the whole of Govardhan. So that's what he did. And it happened right until the concluding portion of his life. And he left his body at this very same place, by the side of Manasi Ganga. And when he left his body, it was painful for the residents of Vrindavan because they loved him so much, but they knew where to take his body. His body was taken to this place. That's the backside of the Madan Mohan temple, and a samadhi was made for him there. They've made renovations many years in a row. Now there's like this little extension in front of, where you see those black and white marble checkers. That now has an area in covering it. And that's his samadhi. And the Govardhan Shila that he walked around was given to Jiva Goswami to maintain, and that Govardhan Shila is today at the Radha Damodar temple. Some of you have been to the Radha Damodar temple. The rest of you will go one day for sure. And if you look closely, you'll see in front of the Radha Damodar altar, there's a little table, and the little table is at Govardhan Shila. You pay a few rupees and they'll show you the Shila. You don't pay, you make some dakshin and they'll show you. So this is what it looks like, even more modernized. It's a very nice place, well maintained, suitable for our darshan of the samadhi of Sanatana Goswami. And I believe that's the last slide. So he had great love for the holy name and many teachings in different forms about the glories of the holy name. And the purpose of sharing this with you is, it's just confirmation of what we already know. The chanting of the holy name is everything. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama eva kevalam, kalo nastyeva, nastyeva, nastyeva gatiranyata. It's everything for us, or we're on the path of having it become everything for us, and following in the footsteps of great acharyas like Bhaktisiddhanta, Sanatana Goswami. Later we're going to hear similarly from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and etc. So it's just words from great souls like this are purifying, and they awaken that remembrance of what we forgot in the shelter of the holy name. I hope it's helpful for you tomorrow morning when we begin our 64-round day to remember these personalities, pray to them, remember their teachings, their words, their affinity, their faith, their shelter-taking, their absorption. The holy name is his ornament and his life and soul. Sanatana Goswami ki jai. Any comments or questions? Yes. We have a portable microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for a wonderful class. Maharaj, I have a question on the reference you gave of, I think it was Linga Purana, where Lord Shiva is telling to Narad Muni that, even if you take the holy name, and I think the crux of it I understood was that even if unintentionally, I forgot the exact word, but when we, one of the 10 aparadas are, Nama-abhasa are the inattentive chanting.
Yes, it is.
So how do we correlate, understand these two things together, Maharaj?
Thank you for asking that question. We're going to discuss that in the next class at length. But it's different. We're inattentive chanting, indifference, there's Sanskrit terms for all this, is different than unintentional. Different. So that's where the intention makes the indifference. So, for you and me, it's not, let's say one of the, because it's an easy one, Shishupal in derision, he was very intentional. he wasn't unfocused, he was very focused. Scorn and derision. And with this reference from Hiranyakashipu, it was unintentional. But it wasn't distracted, it was just, he was saying the holy name without the intention of, but we're accepting in principle, and so the offense is to maintain other places. Well, here, this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur writing on this. I'm going to read some sections from Harinam Chintamani, and he goes through it elaborately. So inattention has everything to do with attention. Or inattention has everything to do with attention. Intention. I'll try it again. Inattention has everything to do with intention. So where we need to wire ourselves primarily is intention, because that takes care of the inattention. If we don't take care of the intention, there's residual effect of our previous absorption, and we'll be at minimum, distracted or inattentive. But supposing there's casual, which is what the reference that you're making. It's not inattention specifically, it's just the intention is not glorification. Ours is glorification, but we're distracted. And we'll hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writing that there's no way to get to prema. We get benefit, got lots of benefit from Nama-abhasa, but we'll never get prema. Lifetimes and 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 lifetimes. Who knows how many lifetimes we've been at this? Who can say? Maybe this is the first time. Maybe it's the millionth time, or somewhere in between. Who can say? But whatever it is, Krishna prema is not going to be ours until the intention is squared, and then the attention is squared, or in alignment with the glories of the holy name, the gift that's been given to us. I like this phrase or statement by Gopakumar very much. I'll be guilty of being ungrateful if I don't experience what this gift really is. I can't fully appreciate it unless I experience it. And I can't appreciate it without experiencing it unless I just continue on the path of full absorption. I mean, anyway, it's part of our assignment. Tomorrow we'll be here, many of us, for much of the day. And how attentive are we going to be? Or how distracted are we going to be? So let's hear from Bhaktivinoda Thakur shortly. That's a nice question. Very important question. Anybody else? Yes. You have a question. We have to wait. He's got the microphone. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is slightly unrelated to chanting. This is the reference you made about the story of Prahlad, that in different kalpas there is slight variation. So my question was, is it the same soul that appears in the body of Prahlad, or is it a different soul in the different kalpas?
Supposing I'm just curious. Supposing I said this or that. How's that going to help you? It's information.
Yeah.
And there's an answer. But my question to your question is, ask questions that are going to really help you, not just information questions. I'm not picking on you.
No, and I knew this was an academic question, and I should just purely academic.
Okay. An honest answer is I don't know. I've not read any scriptural reference that says this or that. It could be this or that. It could be a mood, or, let's say there's an eternal associate of Lord Nrsingadev in Vaikuntha, and his name is Prahlad. And it could be an angsa, or a portion of him that appears within each soul that appears as Prahlad. Whereas the eternal Prahlad is in the spiritual world with Lord Nrsingadev. Now that's a plausible explanation. I've not read anything in Scripture that says that's the case.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Put your hand up, please. Yes. Thank you for carrying the microphone around. Nice service for the Vaishnavas.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Maharaj. Maharaj, I'm sorry, I didn't understand exactly what you said about Nama-abhasa. I just want a clarification on that. Like after my 16 rounds of chanting, if while driving I'm chanting, or if while bathing, or while waiting for transport, so my intention is to remember the Lord, but my attention is not 100%. So am I committing Nama-abhasa while I'm...
Yes.
So should I do it, or should I chant or not?
Yes.
In spite of committing Nama-abhasa, I should chant?
Yes. Kirtaniya Sadahari. Is that a teaching in Scripture?
Yes.
So, what about when you're eating? How are you going to chant when you're eating? You chant in your mind. Now, supposing you're thinking about, what your duties are in life. You have family members, and you have to look after family members. So, should you chant when you're looking after family members because you're not 100% absorbed in Kirtaniya Sadahari? Where then you're joining the intention with some service. It spiritualizes the service instead of just doing the service. Is it Shuddhanam or Nama-abhasa, which is your question? And then, if it's Nama-abhasa, should I not chant while I'm doing something else? And my attention I'm driving the car. I can't be, out to lunch when I'm driving the car. I have to be attentive to the highway. And so in these cases, it's your practice when you're not doing something else, like tomorrow. At least as far as possible, there may be parents with children who have to take care of something with their children or something. As far as possible, it's a time to be very focused. So what you do every day, it's one thing. Shut off your phone, out of reach, etc., etc. And just one thing. Do it with that intention and that attention. And that will give strength, especially if you do it every day, to all the activities you do the rest of the day and the rest of your life. And so now back to your question. Is it Nama-abhasa? Yes. Should I do? Yes. Because you have a nice set of practice with striving at least for Shuddhanam. And gradually, it becomes full. And then there's the reciprocation from Krishna's side. Like Sanatana Goswami going to take his bath, midday bath, and there he sees Radharani and the gopis. Who can say? Even in ordinary affairs, Krishna's mercy can come. Yes? But that depends on our heart. And our heart depends on when you are doing your prescribed chanting. We'll hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur writing more about this. You okay?
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Sometimes I keep fighting with myself. Fighting with myself.
Fighting?
Yes.
Ooh.
Especially when I'm chanting. So my mind tells me, when I focus on the sound, my mind tells me my mind is wandering. So I want to focus it again back on the sound.
Good.
So then my mind says, why don't you look at the deity of Krishna on your mobile? So then I take my mobile and I start looking at the deities of Krishna and I chant. So then I say, okay, then my mind tells me, okay, that's a good girl you are. Now you're focusing your eyes on the Lord, you're focusing your ears on sound, your hand is on Krishna. So then my chanting is better, but then again my mind. So my question is, should I focus both my senses, like look at the deity as well as hear the sound, or should I just hear the sound only?
My answer is whatever works. Sometimes it works. For some people, it works. And for some other people, something else works. And do whatever works, because what's the goal when chanting is hearing? Whatever enhances your hearing. Because if you're hearing, we'll hear tomorrow morning, if you're hearing, just like this Rupa Goswami verse, if you're hearing, the holy name enters the courtyard of the heart. That's a sign that you're hearing. And when you're hearing and the holy name dances in the courtyard of your heart, your mind will become stunned. No, you're saying fighting with yourself. It's not fighting with yourself, it's the mind. There's you, and there's the mind, and the mind isn't another you. It's the mind. The conditioned mind trying to become purified, but the method to become purified is not fighting with your mind. It's hearing. And then the mind is conquered. We'll hear Bhaktisiddhanta's instruction is very clear. How to conquer the mind, how to end that fight. Here. Really? Is that it?
Thank you.
That's it? Oh, that's too easy. Give me something more complicated. Maybe it's Google. I could get the answer in Google and try that one. It's here. Okay.
Maharaj, you clearly explained the intention and attention of speaking the holy name, but is there any of that sort in hearing the holy name?
Could you catch what he said? Could you get what he said?
He said that you explained that one should have intention while speaking the holy name. He's asking, should we have intention even while hearing the holy name?
And the question has to do with intention or attention. Both. Attention, intention, both. So is attention, intention at play while hearing? Is that the question? Of course. Let's say it negatively. If that's not your intention and attention, what are you hearing? You're hearing something, but it's not hearing Shuddhanam. It's hearing something, it's Nama-abhasa. But the shadow or reflection or semblance, abhasa has different English translations, but it's Nama-abhasa. It's a reflection of the real thing. That's what's going on when the intention and attention in hearing isn't in place. And that's, the zone that most of us are in most of the time. Just being very honest, it's just, that's the zone. Okay? I see someone else that's not spoken. Go ahead. You or your daughter had?
I had...
you have the microphone. Go ahead. Daughter can wait.
Okay. So, Maharaj, in the morning session, there was a slide that said, the holy name manifests in those senses that are engaged only in pleasing his senses. So I couldn't really understand manifests in those senses, that
means
section. Yeah.
There's 6 senses, including the mind. The message, my understanding of that message is, when there is absorption in chanting, the mind must be absorbed, otherwise there isn't absorption, and the other senses. The name becomes manifest in the other senses. That is, the other senses become spiritualized. The other senses become spiritualized, means the perception of the presence of Krishna through the absorption of the mind in the name permits or energizes the other senses to also perceive Krishna in other ways. Not only within the mind. Is that all right?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Your daughter had something. No. Come up with something. Okay. Okay. Someone else.
Haribol, Maharaj. I had a question on chanting. So I don't have a taste for chanting all day long. Like I do my rounds and then I like to listen to kirtan.
Good.
And then the kirtan will get in my head. So if I'm not listening to it, sometimes I'm singing the kirtan, but I don't have that taste for chanting like Mataji.
Japa.
Well, japa I do, but I'm saying outside of that. So outside of the prescribed rounds, waiting for the bus or driving, I was just trying to understand. Sometimes I feel like if I do that, if I chant, is there a difference? I guess I'm trying to understand sometimes between kirtan and japa, because kirtan is slower. You don't sing the holy name as you don't say Krishna's, you don't speak his name as often because you're slower, you're saying it at a slower pace.
Okay.
Meaning if I'm chanting, you're going to, in a minute, you can chant Krishna's name X amount of times.
Yes,
But if you're singing, so it's slow,
Okay.
So does it matter?
No.
It doesn't,
Speed doesn't matter. Absorption matters.
Okay. Okay.
And whether it's musical, with or without instruments, just your voice, supposing, like your example, driving, and you've been hearing some kirtan, and that melody will start to appear in your mind. Not only the melody, the singer, and the response, the whole replay in the mind. And then you may find yourself singing without any instruments going on in the car,
Right.
but your voice. So it's all kirtan. Now the question is speed or pace. It's slow or fast, doesn't matter. I won't mention a name. I'm tempted to mention the name. There's some persons I know who they thought previously that I want to keep a certain vrata, which means with the time that I have for chanting, the pace must be this. Time passed. The number didn't necessarily change, but the quality this individual felt, there's more absorption if I take a little bit longer per round, and the cadence of the chanting of the name. And so my message is whatever works. Sometimes and sometimes. And sometimes it's going to be this, and sometimes it's going to be that. The intention should be absorption, however fast, however slow. Does it matter? No. What matters is absorption. And so the compass, your hands on the steering wheel is your intention. And then you evaluate how well your intention is being achieved. That's the intelligence. You monitor. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. Can I ask another question?
Sure.
I get sometimes very focused on the number of rounds. So as I'm chanting, I'm thinking about the time and how many rounds I've completed, how many more I have. And,
Yeah.
I get very caught up in the number, especially if I have rounds left after morning japa that I'm thinking about that, okay, I'm going to do this, and I get very caught up in that. And I try not to, but I realize that my attention is on that, completing it, because I want to commit to my practice, my I don't know, yeah.
You have some people in the room nodding their heads in acknowledgement of, yes, I struggle with that too. So you're asking universal question, semi-universal at least. On the one hand, but on the other hand, we don't want to be caught up in, and on the other hand, we want to fulfill our vow. We're going to hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur writing on exactly that topic. I mean, not the fullness of it, but exactly that topic. And we should complete. And you have to do time management. It's just our duties, our lives have structure, and there's so much time allotted for this and so much time allotted for that. Priority is this, but I have to do that too. So time management requires some attentiveness to, am I completing, and how much time I have left to complete, etc. So it doesn't become a 0, but it shouldn't be a 10 either. My sense, my experience and sense is, if intention is very strong, it takes care of the overemphasis on how am I doing with time. It follows quite naturally, especially by practice and practice and practice. How are we doing with the time for our class? It's 5 minutes after 5. What, Prem Kishore, what's... Okay, I see Devaki Nandan's hand way in the back. Oh, no, it's Amritananda, sorry. My memory is bad and my eyesight is bad. I'm getting old. There's Devaki over here. I'm sorry.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is, you give us such nice instructions. This Japa retreat is really helpful. And this question is trying to put into practice what you had shared last year. Oh. That is, Japa on the mind and mind on Japa. In such a state we should do, then it is helpful. So how I have been, what my realization in this is, Maharaj, Japa on the mind is when you have this intention. So the mind is thinking about Japa. Yeah. And the mind on Japa is attention. Now you could start with the intention before you actually sit down for your rounds. So let's say you get up in the morning, but before that, even the night before, or even as you're laying down to sleep, you think that, okay, I'm going to chant tomorrow morning and I'm going to make it better than what I did it last time. Yeah. So you think about it, that's your intention. And then you actually get down to doing it, and then, everyone's mind runs here, there, you're pulling it back and all that. So if you again try to bring that intent, that, my japa, then you're really not paying attention, Maharaj. Then it's just, the mind is thinking about, I need to do rounds better. You're chanting, the sound is coming out, but then the mind is absorbed in the intention, not in the sound vibration. So how do we work on this?
I don't find that, I don't have that experience. My experience is different than what you just described. In other words, saying the same thing, in other words, bhakti is at the heart of bhakti is the intention to please Krishna. Anukalyena Krishna doshilana. The intention is to please Krishna. That's the heart of bhakti, is that intention. So when you are zeroing in on or trying to remain focused on the intention, that's bhakti. And that the intention of chanting or bhakti is that Krishna is to be pleased. That's the course correction. experience and my understanding of the philosophy, because that's the course correction. If you're going too much into this or too much into that or too much away from this or away from... It's the course correction mechanism. It's bhakti. It brings everything into alignment. It's bhakti. Maybe if you replace intention with wanting to please Krishna, which is the heart of bhakti, maybe you'll feel better. But I think of intention as... There's another way of saying... Another word is volition, which is free will. And I choose. It's, this message that Shamsundar wants to put across during this Japa retreat. My life is for Krishna. Now, if you have to bring your mind back to my life is for Krishna, then do it. But if that's where your intention is, I want to do this, which is the principal means for me to be with Krishna, is the chanting of the holy name. Keep hitting the reset button. Because the other is distraction from what my life is. My life belongs to Krishna. So, that's the course correction. And I don't see it's distraction from the hearing. It permits the hearing. It opens the door for hearing. Say it the other way. Without that intention, where does our attention go? Zillion places. But I don't want a zillion places. I want to be with Krishna. That's who I am. That's what my life is meant for. So that's the intention part. It brings attention. And attention means hearing. And then the holy name enters the courtyard of the heart and starts dancing, and the mind is stunned. So this is the mind factor that's not you. It's like her question about the mind and fighting with myself. It's not the mind. It's not the self, it's the mind. Same. Different, but same. I think I'll take the liberty to take one more question because I called on this young girl and she's came up with something now.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is about kirtan. Is it all right?
About?
Kirtan.
Kirtan.
So when I'm doing kirtan, off late I think, it's when I started to lose my humbleness, and I started doing kirtan for those who are listening to get them attracted to the kirtan instead of doing it for Krishna. So I find myself, truthfully, to get uneasy when there's not a lot of people listening. How do I course correct this and come back to...
How do you do what? Say it slower.
How do I course correct this so that I once again do kirtan to please Krishna?
You exercise your bhakti muscle. 10 of these and 20 of those and 30 of those, and you keep doing it every day, and your bhakti muscle with the purpose. It's not just doing, it's the purpose behind your doing. The purpose behind your doing is intention, and you keep doing with the right purpose, and it becomes natural. Here, Prabhupada had a way of making things so simple. How's the phrase go? Something like, when you do something with practice, it becomes second nature. My nature is fill in the blank. Practice at something, and practice at something, and practice makes it second nature. It replaces the conditioned nature. That's the bhakti muscle. It's the same as the previous, different way of saying the same thing that he said from a different perspective. But it's the bhakti principle that my life is for Krishna. Shamsundar's message. It's a good message. Okay, we'll end there. And what's next?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
So, thank you very much, Guru Maharaj, for this session. Thank you. Hari Bol. So next is, we would like to invite Yadunath Prabhu.
Oh, Yadunath. Hey. Long time no see. Too long. We'll see you for the next half hour or so, right? How long is it?
About 20 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to be front and center.
Yeah, brief thing. When actually Yadunath Prabhu was one of the attractions, I can say. How many of you are there in New Vrindavan Festival of Inspiration? Anyone? Maybe it is like, if not, you can go there. So that was in that festival, Yadunath Prabhu was performing the same comedy show along with some dramas. That was it was one of the things which attracted me to Krishna consciousness. So thank you, Yadunath Prabhu. So just a brief introduction. Pretty much looks like no one is aware fully of him. Yadunath Prabhu was initiated by His Holiness Bhakti Charaswami in the year 2002. He serves today in our New York Bhakti Center. He is one of the board members over there and also advisory. And he did several workshops in New York City as well, and he continues to do even the Broadways, right? They perform all the comedies. But we could only buy in for like half hour for us right now today. So let us welcome him with big Hari Bol. Yes. And please, this is like just a sense of like a humor side of it. We did in the morning learned about how from the Japa perspective, several sessions, and again ending with the intent with Maharaj. Before that, Shyam Sundar Prabhu will be helping us out with the 9 steps to improve our chanting. Again, all this is to get ready for our 64 round tomorrow, okay? So please do nourish yourself towards that.
Well, good evening. My name is Yadunath Das. I do comedy in New York City. By that, I don't mean I'm a comedian. I'm talking about my sadhana. It's a joke. Oh, isn't that nice? Thank you. Yeah, I'm a sad excuse for devotee, boy. A sad excuse for devotee. It's true. This year for Kartik, I vowed to stop trying to stay awake during Bhagavatam class. So far it's the only vow I've made that I haven't broken. Yeah. I have my own take on Brahma Muhurta. Every morning I try to rise from bed 1.5 hours before noon. My Vartma Pradakshika guru is blueberry halva. I got a little picture of it on my altar at home. It's terrible. I'm a sad excuse for devotee. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't really greet you properly. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Yes. Hari Bol. That's what we say, right? Hari Bol. Hari Bol. I'm not really one of these my religion is better than your religion kind of guys. But did you ever notice that our Hari Bol has the Jewish shalom beat by miles? Or I guess in this case, meters. Yeah, all glories to shalom. Shalom is a Hebrew word. It means hello. It also means goodbye. It also means peace. But check out Hari Bol. It's a greeting. Hey, Hari Bol, how's it going? Right? It's a closer. See you tomorrow. Hari Bol. And it can also mean peace. Sure, did you ever run into one of these 80-year-old Prabhupada disciples who never quite made it out of the 60s? Hey, Prabhu, Hari Bol, man, out of sight. Yeah. But Hari Bol can also mean, may I have your attention? As in, Hari Bol, please take your seats. We're ready to begin. Hari Bol. It can mean, excuse me. As in, Hari Bol, Boga offering coming through. Haribol. It can mean testing 1, 2, 3, as in Haribol, Haribol, Hare Krishna, Haribol. It can mean hip hip hooray, as in my wife finally got initiated. Haribol! It can mean, oh, I like him, as in next week we're going to have His Holiness Ramapad Swami speak. Haribol! It can mean you should be ashamed of yourself, as in I can't believe you ate all that halava. That was for the Sunday feast. Haribol! It can mean thank you, as in I just wanted you to have this Maha Garland from Lord Jagannath. Oh, Haribol! It can mean thank God, as in the Janmashtami feast will be served in 10 minutes. Oh, Haribol! It can mean both yes and no, making it the sound incarnation of the Indian head shake, right? Because it can mean yes, as in, does anyone want more kirtan? Haribol! But it can also mean no, as in, Prabhu, would you like this slice of pineapple pizza? Haribol. And then, of course, there's the literal meaning of Haribol, which we all know is, heads up, Prabhus, this kirtan is ending very soon. Haribol, Haribol. Yeah. It's really nice to be back at CNJ. I haven't been here in quite some time. It's wonderful to see you, Maharaj. Shamsundar Prabhu, Hare Krishna. I really liked your book, Chasing Rhinos. You look very different than you do on the jacket of the book, but you look better in person than on the jacket. But anyway, it's good to be back here. It's been such a long time. Since the last time some of you have seen me, I started dyeing my hair gray. But that's just so I can try to get the ghee lamp first. It's not really working. Anyway, let me give you a little background about myself. I tried different kinds of meditation before coming to Krishna consciousness. Silent meditation is always very popular, but I don't know, it never held much appeal to me. But I tried it anyway. I figured, why not, right? You know what they say, you only go around several million times. So I tried it, and the silent meditation people, they make a big deal of saying, you have to empty your mind, and a lot of people talk about how difficult it is to empty your mind. It wasn't the case for me. It's like my wife tells me, your head is always empty, so. Then I took a guided meditation course. That didn't work out either. That was back in New York, and the instructor sounded like he smoked cigarettes for 25 years. All right, visualize the water flowing over you, all right? Relax your body. Relax your body. All right, I'm relaxed. Then I met the devotees from ISKCON, and it was wonderful. Mantra meditation made a lot more sense to me, and the devotees were great. I love the devotees. I mean, they're not perfect, but they're great. I mean, let's be honest. Did you ever try to get directions from a devotee? There was no other way, no other way, no other way. One time, I got into an argument with a devotee. It was silly. It was over a mat to sit on in Bhagavatam class. But this was a devotee argument, so you know what that means, right? Yeah, he wanted me to have the mat, and I wanted him to have the mat. You take, no you, Prabhu, please take, Prabhu, I am your servant, you take, you. We went on and on and on like this, back and forth, until finally, we both decided neither one of us would sit on the mat. We'd leave the mat for someone else, and we would both sit on the floor, happily uncomfortable. Just then a devotee came by and scooped up the mat. But he didn't sit on it either. No, he put it away. Turns out by that time, class had been over for 10 minutes already. Yeah. Love the devotees. A lot of devotees are on Facebook. Or is it just the ones over 40? I don't know. I'm not on Facebook so much myself, but I recently found out that a number of sannyasis actually have their own Facebook pages. Maharaj, are you on Facebook? No. Okay.
If they have it, I don't know.
If they have so they might have it, right? but you're not in charge of it. I found that to be the case where in a lot of instances, it's the disciples who create and maintain these pages. Some sannyasis actually do postings themselves, and that's cool by me. But I can't picture some sannyasis doing that, though. Like, I can't imagine, for example, His Holiness Radharani Swami sitting down, logging on to Facebook, and posting things. Like, what would he post? Just initiated 174 new disciples. OMK, I never poured so much ghee in my life. You know, that's not going to happen, right? Or maybe he'll post a picture of jalebis, right? With a caption, love those jalebs. But they're so sticky. My hand is stuck to my dunda. How am I typing this? LOL. You know, it's not going to happen. This is not going to happen. Some devotees get nasty on Facebook. Nasty. Have you ever run into any of that stuff? It's like, aren't they worried about committing offense? It's like they think if it's on Facebook, it doesn't count or something, you know. All glories to Guru Maharaj. Post. And then the comments start coming in. A jai here, a haribol there, and then your guru is a fascist worm who kills puppies and eats orphans. Bam, 53 likes. What's going on here? You know, there's a little known passage in the Mahabharata where Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, he asks Maharaj Yudhisthira, the eldest Pandava brother, what is the most amazing thing? And Maharaj Yudhisthira replies, he says, the most amazing thing is that every day devotees take great care in trying to avoid reaping the devastating results of Vaishnava aparad. But once they start typing on Facebook, they think it won't happen to them. I mean, you know, devotees can disagree, man, but come on, you got to be respectful about it, right? And let me tell you something. Devotees seem to disagree a lot. Yeah. I'll give you an example. Some devotees think that women should be initiating gurus. Other devotees are against the idea. You know, because after all, for over 45 years now, the male guru-only policy has worked out just swell for everybody, right? I mean, what kind of raging catastrophes could female gurus possibly unleash upon our society that men haven't already conceived of, executed, and perfected? When it comes to damage, women can't hold a ghee lamp to men, you know? Men are just simply the best at damage. That's how it is. One controversy in particular has created a considerable schism within the Hare Krishna movement for some decades now. I think you all know what I'm referring to. I'm talking, of course, about the division between the rockers and the pacers. Now, if you look at it, come on, Prabhus, don't feign ignorance with me. You know, the rockers, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and the pacers, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. What about you, Yadunath? To which category do you belong? I hear you ask me in my mind, a fantasy world where each one of you cares about my japa. I belong to a third category. I sit completely still in a half lotus position. I sit with my back straight and my head fully aligned with my spine. I chant like this for the entire time I am chanting. My first mantra. Then I start rocking. Then I start pacing. Then I pet the cat, watch TV, check WhatsApp, wash the car, paint the house. It's terrible, man. I'm a sad excuse for a devotee. I'm the guy that you sometimes talk to who's chanting while you're talking to him. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, you're not disturbing me. Are you kidding? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare. Better be careful, Prabhu. You're going to bloop. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. I guess my approach to japa doesn't help. I mean, more than the quality of my chanting, I'm concerned with what fashion statement my bead bag is making. Yeah, I wanted to have a nice bag, so I bought myself a designer bag at Macy's. Yes, Macy's, you got to know where to look. But it's okay, though. It was a devotee designer. Maybe you've heard of him. Tommy Govardhan Hilfiger. Yeah. Yeah, and in an effort to avoid being falsely humble, I got it monogrammed, you know, in calligraphy. And it has a picture on it, too. the bags with the pictures on them. It's not Prabhupada, it's not Lord Jagannath. They had this option where you can choose whatever photo you want and put it on there. So I gave them a picture of myself like this. It's great. It's great. Yeah, actually, I'm just kidding. My japa is pretty good, if I do say so myself. Pretty good. Some time ago, I came upon this technique, which totally changed the way I do japa. I mean, it was really an eye-opener. Wait a minute, this is a japa retreat, right? So would you like me to share the technique with you? I don't want to usurp. Is it okay if I... It's okay. Okay. Maharaj says it's okay. All right, I think this will be helpful. So of course, the beads between the thumb and the middle finger, and you just, you chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare. It's great, man. I can do 16 rounds in 20 minutes. Oh, yeah. Maharaj, if you want me to do a seminar at your next japa retreat, you let me know. Don't answer now. You can let me know later. Yeah. Did you ever use japa to measure time and space? You know what I mean? Like, when are we going? One more round. Or, how far away from the temple do you live? Really close, like less than one round walking. I was joking earlier about getting directions from devotees, but I guarantee you, if your phone dies and you're in Alachua, it's going to be, all right, you're going to want to stay on this road for one round, then make a left. Then it's a quick right, just a few mantras. From there, it shouldn't take you more than 2 rounds. If it takes you more than 2 rounds, you either passed it or you chant too fast. Yeah, devotees do get carried away. One time I overheard this conversation. We're expecting a baby. Oh, Haribol. By the way, Haribol can also mean congratulations. Oh, Haribol, how far along are you? 32,256 rounds. Wow, you're hardly showing. Yeah. No, I must admit, as devotees, we are a quirky bunch. We can be quirky. We have our quirks. But the problem is, you know what the problem is? I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is, you ready for what the problem is? I'm going to tell you what the problem is. The problem is the public misunderstands ISKCON. They misunderstand ISKCON. That's the problem. I'll show you what I mean. In the 60s, ISKCON was formed, and it was the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Then, in the early 70s, people started to think that ISKCON stood for the International Society for Krishna Converting as many people as possible. See? Then in the late 70s, people thought ISKCON stood for the International Society for Krishna Controlling all the airports. In the 80s, they thought it was the International Society for Krishna Con Artists. Anybody see any good documentaries lately? In the 90s, they thought it was the International Society for Krishna Congregations Nowhere to be Found. In the 2000s, it was the International Society for Krishna Confining Outreach exclusively to yoga studios. I'm looking at you, Bhakti Center. In the 2010s, it was the International Society for Krishna Confident of a Comeback. And so far, from what I can tell, the 2020 seems to be the International Society for Krishna confirming that bhakti is as vital and effective as ever. Yes? Haribol, that means yes. Okay. That's right. Yeah, it's true, because, we are quirky and we have our stuff, but, we got the goods, I mean, the teachings that Prabhupada gave us, it's amazing. That's why I maintain that ISKCON is the best spiritual movement of all time. And as a matter of fact, I feel so strongly about this that I have taken liberty of compiling a list, with apologies to David Letterman. I've compiled a list of the top 10 reasons why ISKCON is the best spiritual movement of all time. Now, for those of you who don't know David Letterman, who may be all of you, maybe except for one or two, David Letterman is a comedian. He had a very popular late-night talk show for a long time, and on every show he would feature a top 10 list of some kind or other. And before getting to number one, he would ask for a drum roll, to build up the suspense and the anticipation and make it more dramatic. So in lieu of a drum roll, which doesn't quite work the same way on a mridanga, I am going to ask you to please give me a drum roll for me on your lap, like that. When I cue you, let's do a trial run. I will say, may I have a drum roll, please, and you'll do. Great, that's exactly right, excuse me. Okay, so with no further ado, here now, the top 10 reasons why ISKCON is the greatest spiritual movement of all time. Number 10, you can't get a hangover from a mango lassi. Number 9, there's a better chance of meeting Amitabh Bachchan. Did I say that right? Number 8, there are plenty of places you can work up a sweat singing and dancing, but not at 4:30 in the morning. Number 7, unlike the Christian rosary beads and cross, our Kunti Mala will not set off the metal detector at the airport. Number 6, Jews have 10 commandments, Christians have 7 deadly sins, devotees only have 4 regulative principles. Number 5, the public no longer views devotees as crazy and obnoxious thanks to QAnon and Donald Trump. Number 4, when you gain 10 pounds, it's reassuring to be told you're not your body. Number 3, ISKCON put the cult in Vedic culture. Number 2, college students can finally pay off their student loans with all the money they'll save once they stop buying lottery tickets and drinking beer. And may I have a drum roll, please? Oh, that's lovely. The number 1 reason why ISKCON is the greatest spiritual movement of all time, 3 words, Burfi, Burfi, Burfi. Thank you very much, devotees. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Bol. Oh, you can take that. Do you have the other one? Okay.
Hare Krishna.
You got to turn it.
One of the favorite for us for my learning time, right? It was like you and Mataji did, which is the best, service or japa? You remember that skit? Which you?
Service or japa?
Yeah, service and japa. Service, you were service or Mataji was japa. You did some like 15-minute skit. It was really like, which is the greatest one? The service comes first or the japa comes first? Always. So that was the better skit. You explained it or portrayed it in the skit.
A long time ago. I forgot that one.
Yeah, that was in 2011, I think. Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So with this, we'll go much deeper into our how to improve our chanting. Again, as an extension from the morning session, I would like to welcome Shyam Sundar Prabhu. So, sorry, it is back to back this evening, packed up. So, I assure you, after the Shyam Sundar Prabhu, again, His Holiness Rumpa Swami will enrich us with our Bhakti Vinod Thakur, the intent part which was left out in the questions, that will be going deeper. So please stay tuned, please don't leave. So this is for tomorrow's 64 round japa, okay?
Either or more closer to the audience.
पैर के पास मैट चाहिए
हाँ?
आपके पैर के पास मैट डालूं
नहीं. Hare Krishna, everyone. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhaya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we were talking about in the morning the benefits that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned in the first verse of Sixthastikam. How many great 7 benefits we derive by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And in the second verse it's explained why we are not getting those benefits while chanting. And then I said that we will be dwelling in the evening about the 9 steps to improve the chanting. This has been taken from the book, Japa book by Burijan Prabhu. He wonderfully explained these 9 keys to improve the chanting. And at the end, I will be giving some practical tips that has helped me. That doesn't mean that it may help you, but it may help you. So I'll gonna share those practical tips with you also at the end. I think I have done. So the first key is chanting Hare Krishna mantra is the method of self-realization for this Kali Yuga in age of quarrel and hypocrisy. In Srimad Bhagavatam 12th Canto, Chapter 3, Text 51, it says that although the Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age, that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So how often should we chant? If possible, always, or at least remember the Mahamantra while we are awake for at least 18 hours a day, right? Whether you are a family person living at home or a sannyasi living in the forest or preaching constantly to chant, whether you are in a condition of happiness or distress, in all circumstances, do not forget this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Any restrictions where and when to chant? Absolutely no restrictions. Example of the Gopal Guru Goswami that I mentioned in the morning. That person was holding the tongue. And when Gopal Guru saw that, he said, no, you can chant in any place, any circumstances. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to hear the instructions. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declared that I shall personally inaugurate the religion of this age, Nama Sankirtan, and I shall make the world dance in ecstasy, realizing the 4 mellows of loving devotional service. And by chanting the Mahamantra as constantly as possible, our heart will gradually become cleansed, and all 7 effects described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will manifest in us if we sincerely follow those things. Second key, listen to just one mantra at a time. We know that Krishna's name is so powerful that it destroyed all sinful reaction, and that one who chants even a single name of Krishna becomes the topmost human being. So how, we wonder, can we capture the racing mind and focus on the holy name? As I was giving that little realization lately, I have
is each mantra when I chant, I just think that I'm making one step on my ladder going to Goloka Vrindavan. So every step you want to make it sure that is very stable. So we need to chant very clearly, distinctly, and hear it. And then you know for sure that yes, I have created at least one step on my ladder going to the Goloka Vrindavan. And we keep on building our step toward the Goloka Vrindavan. And if we become inattentive, and if we didn't build that step properly, then what happens? The whole ladder will collapse. So we have to be very attentive for each round. As I was saying in the morning, we should be at the present time, not thinking about what had happened yesterday or what is going to happen tomorrow, or how you chanted the bad mantra last one, and how you are going to put the effort to chant the next mantra nicely. Don't think about it. Remain on the present time. Chant the mantra that you are chanting with full attention. So listen attentively. Only one mantra that we are chanting. Keep it very simple. Don't think about how good or bad previous mantra that we chanted. What is the problem of controlling the mind? Prabhupada says, just chant and hear. Don't make the chanting complicated. A very simple process. And I think, as I said in the morning, you should keep a very beautiful Mahamantra written format, nice frame. And you just simply pretend yourself that you don't know the Mahamantra. Our mistake is we feel that we know the Mahamantra. But most of the time I highly recommend that once a week we should record our chanting and send it to your friend you have the trust in them. Because even though you will hear your chanting, even though you are not chanting properly, you will not catch it, your mistake. But other friend will right away say, hey Prabhu, you are not chanting the second Hare properly. So please do that service to yourself. Record your chanting and send it to a friend. And you also listen that how good you are chanting. So Srila Prabhupada says, what is the problem of controlling mind? Just chant and hear. Best way to keep the printed Mahamantra and pretend that you don't know. Just simply read and hear it very nicely. So this is the second key of improving chanting. Third key is state your determination. A lot of the time we start chanting without no determination, no prayer, nothing. We don't take complete shelter of the Guru Parampara, Radha and Krishna, and we start chanting. Before we start chanting, we should state our determination that at least no matter what happens, I'm not going to get up from my seat. I'm going to finish whatever number of rounds, or you can select the number of hours that I'm going to chant for 2 hours. Then don't distract yourself with anything. There is nothing important than chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Everything goes in this world on its own accord. It's not that we have to be attentive to certain things, that it will destroy everything if you don't become attentive. So state your determination before you start chanting that I'm going to sit here and I'm going to chant for 2 hours. I have nothing to do. Simply I'm going to read the Mahamantra and I'm going to hear it. So giving the mind a simplified task that one mantra at a time works in conjunction with the third key, determination. And to direct the mind, we need to make sankalpa. Vaisasika Prabhu says that if you do not make a goal in your life, you will never achieve any goal. At least you should have the intentions where we want to go. We need to have a goal and then bisect the goal in a small amount, like I was giving the example of my landscaping. Lots of weed, it will fill. Hey, how I'm going to finish it? Just take 3 feet by 3 feet, clean it, and then you will feel inspired that, this space looks very beautiful. Let me do another 3 feet by 3 feet. slowly you go. So similarly, you concentrate your mind for smaller amount of time. For the newer devotee, they can take that sankalpa. The 15 minutes I'm going to remain very attentive to the holy name. And then slowly, if you will chant nicely and hear it nicely, automatically you will feel inspired. I can do it. Let me do now half an hour. Slowly you increase your base, like my Guru Maharaj used to say that when the children learns to walk, they see other people walking and they learn from there. And what we do when we walk, we make sure that the foot we put is stable. And then we lift another leg. And then other leg become fixed. Then and then we lift another leg. So slowly and slowly we increase our devotion. But as I was saying in the morning also, if we don't create the good habit in the beginning, this bad habit will take you a long journey to correct the bad habit. So for the new devotee, my advice is that don't count that you are going to chant 10 rounds or 12 rounds. Just select the time that Krishna, I'll spend with you 15 minutes or half an hour. And remain focused for that purpose. And then slowly you increase the time. Because I have seen the devotee that once we create some bad habit, you will always think that you are chanting properly. I have seen the devotee that they are missing the whole second line of the first part of the mantra. And I said, Prabhu, what we are doing? Slow down. And what I do, sometime I on the Zoom call, I record it. And I send the recording, Prabhu, you hear. The second line, the whole line you are missing. And they create the tune that they feel like they are chanting the complete mantra. And they completely satisfied. So we have to be very, very attentive. So to direct the mind, we need to make the sankalpa, a statement of fixed determination or the purpose. And then we have experienced that as soon as we picked up the japa bag, right? We've seen the mind will keep on reminding about all other things. One time Radharani Goswami Maharaj was telling that I was chanting in the morning. I think it's not that Maharaj is thinking like that, but he was making a point that he was chanting at 4 o'clock in the morning and Maharaj was saying, I need to fix my muffler today. Now the shop doesn't open until 9 a.m. What it has to do at 4:30 in the morning. But this is how our mind works. As soon as we pick up, we are fully concentrated when we do all our material things. We are very perfect. But as soon as we pick up the japa bag and start chanting, the mind starts wandering. This is the most amazing thing. So we can slowly subdue our mind by fixing our daily activity and remain fixed. The most important thing that I think I have seen is we are all good manager. We should know exactly, we should plan our day, what time to what time, what activity you are going to do. You know your weekday schedule, you know your weekend schedule. You know the time that you have to put for your work, acceptable. But the rest of the time, you should have some thought and the schedule that what exactly I'm going to do from 4:30 to 7 or 4 to 6 o'clock, whatever the time. What I'm going to do after I come back from the work, from 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8. Bisect the day and create some schedule that you want to follow. Consistency will improve our determinations. And it will become, like Maharaj was saying, if you practice it, it will become like a second nature. You don't have to apply your force at that time because everything is scheduled. You are happy with the schedule. If some adjustment need to be made, you make some adjustment. But keep some schedule that, okay, I'm going to read 7:30 to 8 p.m. Prabhupada books. Then make on the calendar every time 7:30. You read the books. Someday you may miss because of emergency, that's fine. But mostly you stick with the program. So that will bring the really fix our mind. and start going to the bed as early as possible. Actually, for 2 weeks, write down, there is a things that we need to, before we do anything, we need to get convinced what you are going to do. If you are not convinced, then even though you want to put the effort, you will not get the result. So this is what I suggest, that actually for 2 weeks, one of the students asked me that how can I bring my schedule. So I said for 2 weeks you don't do anything, just measure that suppose if you are going at 10:30 to the bed, from 8 p.m. you exactly write down for 2 weeks every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, exactly what duty you are doing every single day for 15 days. And then you dwell, am I doing any productive work during that time? And then calculate how much number of hours, that suppose if you are going to sleep at 10:30, from 8 to 10:30, 2.5 hours, maybe you may be doing 1 hour of productive work. Accept it. But another hour and a half, you are misusing it or wasting it. Not necessarily we get engaged in those activities. And if we are not careful, then the small time, if we really look at it in the long term, how much time we will be losing in our life. So time management is necessary. So you write down every day what you are doing, how much productive hours that you are doing, and then if you start waking up early in the morning, even though you do 2 hours of productive work at night, you will be able to do in the morning in 1 hour. So you will save 1 hour of your time. Time something is, Krishna is time. You cannot buy back any moment in our life. Every moment passes, sun rises, sunset, we lose our life. So we have to become very fixed up on our schedule. If we have the intentions to go back to Godhead, we have to become serious in our life, right? And chanting japa is not an invitation to the mind to wander wherever it chooses. It is the time to enter into our personal relationship with Krishna. When we chant, for whom we are chanting, we should ask that. We are chanting for the pleasure of the divine couple Radha and Krishna. We are not chanting for our own enjoyment. We are chanting to give the pleasure to the divine couple, re-establish our relationship. And if we re-establish the relationship, then all other relationships, even in the material world, will become strong. So everything we aspire for is available in the holy name. But to fulfill those aspirations, we must give full attention to the mantra that we are chanting. And when we have gathered the necessary determination, how we will get the determination is association. Association is more powerful in our devotional practice. If we associate with those persons who are fixed and resolute in the determination, with their determination, if we keep on associating, those qualities will come in our life. We will also become determined. Look at our great Acharya. We should feel so proud of our disciplic succession, how determined they were. And if we keep that association and their instruction, I heard that even if we remember the great Acharyas, we will get their mercy, just naming them. So when we have gathered the necessary determination, we should then focus the mind on its simple task, that we can be determined only about the one mantra that we are chanting. Create one step toward the Goloka Vrindavan, right? Then what have we accomplished when we have chanted one mantra with attention? We have allowed our consciousness to touch the holy name. And we have bathed our consciousness in sweetness of the holy name of Krishna. If the effect of listening to a single Mahamantra is so incredible, imagine what it would be to hear many Mahamantras, 16 rounds, attentive rounds will bring so much happiness and joy in our life. Try your best to become free from Nama-abhasa by chanting attentively. So that's the third key. The fourth key is bring mind back to here. Remember, I was asking that in the morning, that what our Acharya says, when you see your mind is going away, bring the mind back. What does it mean to bring the mind back? Start hearing the Mahamantra. So part of applying third key is determination, to be determined to bring the mind back. From wherever it's wandered, start listening attentively. By nature, mind is agitated, unsteady and flickering. Always prepare to jump without reason. This is the tendency of the mind. And to fulfill our sankalpa, we must draw mind back to listening the Mahamantra. It's so wonderful process. And the fifth key is detachment. Freedom in chanting comes from focusing on the mantra that we are chanting. Detach from the past and future and place all your attention on present attempt to hear clearly. When we will hear attentively and the power and sweetness of the mantra, it will shock us actually. Make a vow to hear each syllabus. Now become detached. There is no point lamenting about the past or worrying about the next mantra. Focused chanting is actually the clearing stage of japa, Nama-abhasa. Practice of this 5 key will gradually slow the mind, and that will make easier to stay focused while we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And the example that I give about the shooting the bird, that example also we should keep in our mind and thought when we start chanting, that how focused we need to be if he wants to hit our target. The 6th key is neglect the mind completely. There is no way around it. If you want to chant good japa, you must neglect the mind. Usually, we accept our mind as our authority and we follow the mind. Better to neglect the mind. We will not be able to chant properly until we apply this key, at least while we chant the holy name. Srila Prabhupada asserts that the mind is the original cause of material bondage. And Prabhupada said, if only I had love for Radha and Krishna, nothing else has any value. It's simply not possible to embrace the holy name while thinking of an incessant succession of mundane hopes that we carry in our life. Gradually, mind must be trained to obey the order of the soul. And that's why Acharya recommended to hit the head early in the morning with the shoes and before we go to the bed with the broomstick to remind us what we need to do in our life. Then it says the pride sits in the mind and the ever-present representative of false ego. Pride can be controlled by complete shelter at the lotus feet of Guru and Krishna, as I was saying on our little expression or sharing that what thing has helped in your devotional life in that session, that have implicit faith in the words of Guru and Krishna, then impossible thing become possible. So keep that thought in your mind. When sun is in the sky, there is no question of darkness. So try to fix mind on Krishna and Maya will not come close to that. And that's the reason when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the Zoom call, we always go to 12 Forest of Vrindavan, where there is no influence of Maya Devi. Everything works under the spiritual potency. Our Acharya says that if we cannot remain fixed in the Brajadam, at least mentally we should try to stay in the Brajadham. It's very sublime. The mind will never be satisfied with the material activities, and it can only truly satisfy by bathing in the nectar of the holy name. And we must realize that mind business is to protect our false ego. That's the duty of the mind. Then we go to the seventh key is humility. You know, our Acharya said that Tranodapi Sunichana Tororapi Saisnu Namadina Manadan Kirtaniya Sadhari. We should wear as a devotee this mantra. Unless we practice those things, it would be very difficult, our journey. Our anarthas and aparadh pulls us away over and over again from seeing Krishna. We need to realize that we are very, very insignificant, servant of the Lord, and when the light is off, we cannot see the dirt. You know, like now I have seen that this technology they are using on the Dyson company, they make the vacuum cleaner with the LED light. And if you keep your room dark and if you vacuum it, small particle, you will see thousands. And you will, on our eyes, we will see floor is very clean. But when you turn on the vacuum cleaner, you will see how filthy and dirty it is. So this shows that we also has to turn to the light, then we will see the dirt. This vision awaken humility. Our Acharya recommend to wear the third verse in our neck. Like Maharaj was saying that we should wear those verses in our neck. And not only that we should wear, but we should always meditate on those. So what is the connection between humility and inoffensive chanting? Humility makes us back to serve the devotees, our spiritual master, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, and Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. As our aspiration grows, we will see how weak it is. We will soon realize that our only hope to attain our goal is to take shelter of the holy name. And when we desire to serve Krishna, mixed with humility and full awareness of both our impurity and our inability, we will have found the key to taking shelter of Krishna's holy name. So humility automatically develops by the mercy of Krishna's holy name, and as we progress in our pure chanting, humility automatically follows. Our Acharya says that you don't have to make a separate endeavor to create, or just when we see the deity, or the devotee, we bow down, external, but we need to imbibe this quality within our internal life, that we need to become humble. We don't have any ability to do anything ourselves. Everything works by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. We should not take any proud. If we do something good in our life, we should give that all the credit belongs to Guru and Krishna. And if we do nonsense, we should take full responsibility. Right? Then the eighth key comes, Nama-abhasa. Take full shelter of the holy name. Nama-abhasa literally means to take shelter of the holy name. Steadily and fully taking shelter of the holy name. And Krishna is in the Nishtha platform. We are not only servants, but insignificant servants. Eternally, we have to make sure our mind. Bhaktivinoda Thakur discussed Nama-abhasa in his song, describing the third verse as follows, that you should give up all false pride and always consider yourself to be worthless, destitute, and lower and more humble than a blade of grass. And you should practice forgiveness like that of a tree and giving up violence toward the other living being. You should protect and maintain them. You should never give anxiety to others, but rather do good to them. And while forgetting about your own happiness, abandon all desire for fame and honor and makes one heart humble by giving all respect to the others. and without expecting any respect to ourselves, knowing Krishna resides in everyone's heart. So when we offer the obeisances, we should offer to all the living beings because Krishna is residing there. We should not hold any grudge against anyone. If we cannot forgive anyone, do you think that Krishna will forgive us? We have to make so many mistakes in our life. And if we are seeking the forgiveness from Krishna, show Krishna that yes, I am forgiving other people. So in Gitavali song, Bhakti Vinod Thakur further discussed Namaste as follows. Therefore, carefully take shelter of the holy name and remain always engaged in his service as your eternal occupations. Somehow or other, we have to train our mind and our life that any spare time, whatever time I have, I want to dedicate to chant the holy name. And without the holy name, there is nothing within the 14 worlds. Drink the pure nectar of the holy name of Krishna and thus satisfy the souls of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So example is given about the Kunti Devi. Always remain dependent. Look at those examples, right? They always, Kunti Devi pray that every step of my life, please bring me the difficulty. So by having the difficulty in my life, I will never forget you. And by remembering you, I have my destination to meet you eternally and to show the divine couple. So the discussion of the Nama-abhasa addresses the question of why our chanting hasn't brought 8 promised results. And the false ego has not allowed us to chant Krishna's name in a mood of a soul urgently requesting shelter. As I was saying, Arjuna, after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Krishna left, he has to deliver the message to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and that Krishna has left this world, right? And Arjuna felt at that time that I was feeling so strong that I was able to defeat all the Kauravas. But now in the absence of Krishna, I have lost all my strength. So we should feel in the absence of Krishna, no matter how strong we may be materially, there is no value to it. We are so weak. And false ego means to see us as the center. Surrender eradicates false ego, and from there we can become truly empowered. A real devotee knows that they can accomplish nothing. Whatever they do is only by the causeless mercy of Guru and Krishna. In summary, this 6th and the 7th key, humility, leading to Namashaya, means we have no other shelter than the holy name and no independent ability on our own to do anything good in our life. We have no material opulence on which to depend, and we sincerely need Guru and Krishna's mercy. So conclusion, that one should chant Krishna's holy name with ever deepening humility and dependence on the holy name's mercy. By prayerfully chanting in this mood, recognize one's lack of qualification, yet desiring nothing but to attain Krishna's service eternally, and urgently begging Krishna in the form of his holy name. And then, to purify the heart, the 4th verse, Nadhanam Najanam, describe who chant Krishna's name on the level of Ruchi. The heart of the process is to serve the devotees, associate with the devotees, advanced devotees, hear Krishna Katha in their association, and then what you hear, you repeat to someone else. That's the way. And finally, the 9th key, Krishna's causeless mercy. If we wish our attachment to Krishna and our desire to serve him to increase, we need this key. It is the master key. Ultimately, we can depend only on this key. Example of Damodar Leela, 2 fingers short. Because of Mother Yasoda, hard labor, her whole body became covered with perspiration, and the flowers and the comb were falling from her hair. And when child Krishna saw his mother, thus fatigued, he became merciful. So we need to work so hard that can attract the hearts and the mind of Krishna's. And then Krishna agreed to get bound. So our one finger represents devotees' hard work, determination and persistence. And the second finger represents the Krishna's mercy. So to derive the great benefit of chanting, I have Sanatana Goswami also has given some tips. We must have a firm faith in the holy name. I'm going to go quickly. Realize and meditate that everything in existence belongs to Krishna. Have a same will as Krishna. Our will should match with Krishna's will, not our own will. Completely surrender and cry for Krishna. Chant continuously, at least 18 hours while we are awake. That's the goal. And prema equals humility and pridelessness. So Sanatana Goswami has also given the 6 effective rules for perfect japa. One is first practice means when mind run away from the divine holy name, one should be honest and humble enough to bring it back. And the easiest way to do it is just read each and every syllable of the Mahamantra and very clearly hear the divine sounds. Then socha, external and internal purity. When we sit down to chant, everything comes up. Movie we saw, mundane literature we read, glance it at the opposite gender. It is obvious that it is easier to sit down and chant in a very clean space, free of dust, sweat and mud. So these are some of the Sanatana Goswami has given us the tip. And then the mona, silence. Prajalpa pollutes the mind. Sanatana Goswami instructs one should learn to be materially silent, but spiritually talkative. Words prajalpa is to criticize the devotees. And then mantra chintam, contemplating the meaning of the Mahamantra. You know, as I said, that if you would like to get each word, the meaning of that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written those 16 explanations for each word, wonderfully describing the meaning of his syllabus. And then Sanatana Goswami continues about the patience. Don't rush the practice. It is so unloving, so opposed to the mood of bhakti. If someone is in so much hurry, can't listen to you. So if you are in hurry, Krishna will say, let me leave this place. And then steadfastness. One should continue despite impediments. Don't lose hope if the result of chanting do not come right away. It's very nice meditations that we should do. Then I have some practical tips that what it has helped me. It doesn't mean that it may help you, but at least you can see that maybe it can help you. So I'm going to share those practical tips with you. Write down the activities that we perform during our awake time in detail for 15 days. 2. Just see how you want to improve and list all the items that you feel need to be improved. 3. Select only main 2 items that you want to improve on. Don't take the long list at one time. You will get frustrated and you won't be able to see the good result. Pick most important 2 items that you think that you need to improve on. And then 4, meditate and contemplate for next 15 days. Don't start right away that, okay, from tomorrow I'm going to start doing these 2 things. No. Contemplate and meditate for 15 days that what need to be adjusted so that we can concentrate on these 2 items. We need to plan it. Okay, I want to do this, so contemplate how I'm going to achieve those goals. Do the exercise, do the homework for 15 days. And then make a detailed plan and take a vow in the front of deities or guru pictures to remain steadfast that we want to reach the goal. And 6, implement the plan. Please stay in close association of the devotee who are also sincerely following with their steadfastness, sincerity, determination, and we will get benefit and we will succeed in our plan. So these are some of the practical tips that we, if we imbibe, that we can improve our chanting. Also, I have some other practical tips that I have put in my devotional life. Establish a disturbance-free environment for intensified chanting, because distractions or inattention leads to all other offenses. So you should select a room in your house which is very peaceful. Don't select the room that you are working, because then all the work thought will come. Your assignment will prominent your mind. So select that place where you can remain peaceful, and then put the earplug or the headphone initially, because it magnified our sound. So even though you are chanting softly, if you use the earplug or the earphone, you will hear your chanting very nicely. And the distraction will be removed, because no other voice will enter in the ear. That's really helpful. So such induced silence help fix the mind and heart on the beautiful name, forms and pastimes of Radha Shyam Sundar. 2, keep your eyes closed and concentrate. Initially, I don't recommend, because when we close the eyes, we have the sweet time, right? Very quickly. So I don't recommend until you really practice for some time that you are really attentive and you can remain steadfast, then you do this. But until that, don't use this closing eyes business. And concentrate with a submissive mind and a humble heart, full of prayer and petition. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur recommends covering the head with a cloth so you don't distract your mind. And 3rd, sit firmly and fix with some pranayama or some exercise. And 4th, clearly understand the sense perceptual process and then learn to negate them and turn off all sensory stimuli except hearing the Mahamantra. Experience one time. Select that very peaceful atmosphere. Put the earplug in your ears and practice one time. You will see how wonderful it is just to hear the holy name. Krishna has invested all his energy into the holy name. And 5, enter into the 4-state humility, tolerance, pridelessness, respecting all. See your insignificant positions, how insignificant we are. We should not take any pride. Why we want to be a proud person? We have no ability. Even if we breathe in, do we have the guarantee we will be breathing out? No. Why we want to create? 6, while chanting, always remember that mantra is a personal address to Radha and Krishna, not a parrot's chanting. We are uttering the holy name, inviting the divine couple to come and assist us in our chanting. It should not become a mechanical process. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then the mind will go somewhere else. Chant very nicely, clearly, distinctly. While chanting, repeatedly fill the mind with the wonderful meaning of the holy name given by our previous acharyas. You can read some verse that can enhance our chanting. Our acharya has given wonderful, wonderful instructions. If you read those verses once in a while, after 4 or 5 rounds you chant, you can read some scripture for a few minutes. Bring your mind back to your awareness and expect exalted experience and spiritual realization by this most powerful and sublime sound vibrations. Best is to concentrate your vision and mind on the written Mahamantra and hear the transcendental sound vibration to keep our mind absorbed. So with those thoughts, I'm very insignificant, very fallen than you all, but something that has helped in my journey. As Maharaj was saying, that there was a time in my journey that I was even advising the devotees that if we chant very slowly, our mind has the way to go out. Chant fast. And sometimes I chanted 5.5 minutes per round at that time. And I practice that when I inhale, also I chant. When I exhale, also I chant. So there is no stoppage. But then I also realize nowadays that I have expanded my time. I take longer time now, more than 8.5, 9 minutes per round. And it's very sublime. So this is the different stage of our journey. And principle remain the same, but our individual journey is personalized. You find your way that how you can completely remain focused for the holy name. And that's the reason I said that when you want to sit, make a practice, state your determination, how long you are going to chant. And remain fixed. And start with smaller amount, and then you can slowly increase. But never move from it. Never live like you chant half round and something comes and you stop chanting. Complete your round if you have started. There is nothing in the world that will take away by chanting, giving 6-7 more minutes to the divine couple. So whenever you start round, finish the round. Any other questions, comment, corrections, or chastisements? Yes, Prabhupada.
Just speak. Go ahead, speak.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. One question I had on the usage of chanting beat. So we focus on speaking clearly and listening to the round. But Hare Krishna. If you were to, let's say, use a clicker instead of chanting beat, but we speak clearly and we focus our mind, is that considered less effective?
I think that I would like to suggest always chanting on the Tulsi beds is beneficial rather than using the clicker. Tulsi Maharani always recited the lotus feet of Krishna. And we believe or not, but it has the potency when we touch those Tulsi beds. We may recognize or not recognize, but effect is there. That association is there. So I think that we need to utilize all the tools that our Acharya has given. Don't try to simplify it or make it easy for our own convenience. Don't listen to your mind. Follow what our Acharya has given. That's my 2 cents on this.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for wonderful class. Like afternoon class was also amazing. Like it was just heart touching, like how to do our chanting and all that. I really like you said, you stay in the present, don't think about past and future, and chant the rest. I just wanted to know, you mentioned like each name, Bhaktivinoda Thakur just explains them. So can we get that, the meaning of that each name?
Yes. I think that I didn't bring the complete page. I have with my some other writings. Let me see if I found, but that will take some time to read the 16 definition. I don't have it with me, but I can pass on to any Prabhu.
Yeah, I got your number from one Mataji afternoon, so yes. I will just text you. And
yeah, you just text me and I will take the picture of those all 16 explanation. What first Hare means, what first Krishna means, what another Hare means, like that. Wonderful Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given the explanation and meaning of the Mahamantra.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. You spoke about entering a state of humility when doing chanting.
Can you say the first line? I didn't hear.
Sorry. You spoke about entering a stage of humility when doing chanting so that we can feel more humble and do proper chanting.
Yes.
How, like, I struggled with this a lot because if I try to make myself humble, it either becomes false humility or it just makes me feel terrible. How do we get true humility?
Yeah. As I was saying, I think in the morning, one of the Mataji sitting there, she asked the similar questions. So I just recommend that you look at from your childhood. You dwell on your life yourself and see who was there in your life in the difficult time, who has helped you. Nobody can help us except Krishna, right? When we appear for the final exam, I remember that we pray to Krishna, please give us, help us so we can have a good grades. Even the atheist who doesn't believe in God. But I have seen that when you see at the last time of their life on the bed, they will say, God, please do something. So those realizations we have to accept the fact if you dwell on your life yourself, you will see that who is the real mover in our life is Krishna. And we have seen, as I was saying, that we have faith in our friends, we have faith in family member. As long as they get benefit of our service, they will be your friend and your family. As soon as you cut off that, what they wants to have it from our life, you will see the real nature of your family member and the friends. As I said in the morning, you declare chapter 13 that you are bankrupt, and then start calling your friend circle and see how many will respond to you. Right?
Thank you.
So if no questions, then please accept my humble obeisances at your feet, and please pray that we can remain steadfast in our devotion. We have a great guide like His Holiness Ramapada Swami Maharaj. We can learn from the life, how glorious life that they are living. If we can even follow 10% of the dedication, our life can become successful. And only way we will be able to please. They don't have any desire to gain anything from us. The only the desire is to see that we get closer to Krishna. So those personality, we should remain grateful, ever grateful to those personality who has helped us to come and helping us to get closer and closer to Krishna. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo.
No, that's why you put it at a distance. Yeah, it's not. You just have to keep it at a distance. What session?